Hey guys, happy Tuesday. I hope you're having a good week. Um, well, I guess it's not Tuesday, it's Wednesday, isn't it? So, happy Wednesday. I know I'm a day late. I'm just so used to saying happy Tuesday. Anyways, um, sorry for the the off-kilter days, but I still wanted to come to you this week, even though my schedule's a little off, and give you some helpful tips on your content and stuff like this. So, something I hear a lot from my bookkeeper clients is, why do I need to tell stories in my content? This could be for a variety of reasons. They may feel like I don't have interesting stories to tell, I don't think my life is that interesting, or also just from their own personal preference, they're like, I feel like I just want posts that get short, sweet, right to the point. Why do I need to worry about stories? So, for any bookkeepers who are watching this, who are analytical and want the data, I've got the data for you. I've got 4 reasons. I'm going to lay them out for you right now. Different research. I got it. I got you covered. So, this is why story posts work. This is why they're strategic. This is why you don't just want to post facts. You're going to want to be able to tell stories. It's strategic. I know sometimes I get pushback a little on the selfies too. People feel uncomfortable with that. They feel like it's just like Kardashian duck faces. That's not the case. This stuff is actually strategic. So let me break down why that is, and hopefully that'll make you feel a little more comfortable doing it in the future. So I got 4 reasons for you, four pieces of data. Number one, we make decisions emotionally. It's a different part of our brain. Rational facts, rational explanation is not enough for decision making. It really isn't. We make decisions emotionally. Um, there's this guy named Elliot. So there something happened to him. I'll read you the research that I found because it's really interesting. I can't say it in a better way. Meet Elliot, a hardworking accountant who was living the American dream in the early 1980s. Unfortunately, he developed a brain tumor in his orbitofrontal cortex and required surgery. The procedure seemed to have gone well because Elliot retained what appeared to be all of his physical, linguistic, and intellectual capacities. It seemed like he was functioning fine. But soon it was clear he'd lost something post surgery, his ability to make decisions, even about the simplest things. Even just choosing a black or a blue pen to sign could take him 30 minutes because he's trying to process it rationally. The underlying reason was that Elliot had lost the ability to connect emotion with decision making. See, our emotions help us make decisions much faster. The surgery had cut him off from that emotional mind, making him pathologically indecisive. So, this is just an example of when we're trying to appeal to someone to make a decision, to work with us, to reach out to us, make a call with us, we can't just appeal to them on the rational part of their brain. We need to appeal to them on the emotional part of our brain. It's effective. And through stories, we convey emotion, we connect with emotion. And I got stats for that too. Um, uh, yes, let's do this one. Okay, so stories are emotional. So the reason, because we actually feel them, we remember things far better than facts. We remember stories way better. And there's a specific reason. Again, facts go to a different part of the brain. Facts go to the logical processing part of the brain. Stories activate a different part of the brain than data. And we're trying to get to that part of the brain. So here's what's crazy. I love this story. When we hear information, for example, A B test results, we activate the part of our brain responsible for processing language. All we're doing is taking the words, figuring out what they mean. But when we hear stories, our brain acts as if we're feeling, like actually feeling the stories. In one study at the University of Washington in St. Louis, researchers studied people's brain activity while they read a story. Again, reading a story about a boy named Raymond. What they found was amazing. And reading the story about Raymond to these people, when Raymond in the story picked up an object, the neurons responsible for hand movements in the participant brains, they lit up. And when Raymond looked at what was around him, the neurons related to vision, they fired up too. This is what the research shows. When we hear stories, it activates this part of our brain where we actually are experiencing it. When we hear stories, our brain acts as if we are living them. That's much more sticky. So, again, when marketers say that stories engage your readers, it's not just fluff, it's not just telling you to fill up a page, it's psychology, it's powerful. Stories do that. Stories literally light up the parts of our brain where, again, like it said, if the character is picking up something, I am thinking of picking up something. Isn't that crazy? This is how powerful stories are. And it does it in a way that Listing off facts, even if they're correct and useful, doesn't ignite. So that's two. Also, here's another one for you. So, third one, longer content with a good story is repeatedly, not necessarily always, but repeatedly shown to be more effective in today's world. Okay, so you would think that like in a world of Twitter, in a world of, short captions and tons of stuff on your social feed, you want to be as fast as possible, right? Keep it short, keep it digestible. That's not always the right strategy. We are story driven people, and in tests, when people test different forms of their content, if it's a longer piece of content with a good story, it actually does better. So here's another stat for you. So I read this one company, it's Buffer, for one of the blog posts on our journey to 100K blog about the steps we took to get more subscribers. We ran a basic A/B test. So the blog post just had two different versions. On version A, some of our visitors were sent to a version that started with a simple story that led into the meat of the content. And then group B, they found a post with no nonsense intro that just jumped right to the point. Again, more content, more to read starts with the story. Short, sweet, to the point. And guess what? The post with the narrative info, the narrative intro, 300 more percent people scrolled all the way to the bottom, and average time on the page was 5 times higher. Again, it feels counterintuitive as an age where everything is short, fast, overload of information. We're wired for story. It increases our engagement. Again, there's research proving this. It sounds weird to like tell stories. It sounds like almost overly simplistic, but it is. It's the way our brains are wired. It's psychology. It's how we're built. So you need to take advantage of it. All right, so we make decisions emotionally in a different part of the brain, which stories access. Stories are emotional, and they're so much more powerful because we actually feel the details of the story. Also, longer content is proven, as long as it has a good story, to often be more effective, which seems counterintuitive, but that's the way it is. And then also, last point, I'm going short today, but a good story quite literally and provably increases value. Look at this thing called the Significant Objects Project. It's so interesting. So here's the description that I came across. This project started with the hunch that stories can add measurable value to near worthless trinkets. So, two writers, they bought cheap trinkets at thrift stores and garage sales, stuff basically worth nothing. Then they paired each object, each trinket, with a writer who wrote a fictional story about the object. And a photo of the trinket and the story were then published on eBay. Here's an example of one of those stories. Um, and they did have disclaimers saying that these aren't real stories. Um, One of them had a snow globe of Utah, and they bought it for 99 cents. One of the writers on their team, he wrote a story. My granddad's granddad had a box under his bed. If you got to open the box, you'd find a little door, and the little door had a combination about it. And then it goes into all of these details, this family powerful details in this story. Here's the thing: this snow globe was listed with this story after being bought for 99 cents, and on eBay it sold for $59. They bought it for 99 cents, added a good story, and got 58 more dollars for the snow globe because the story was good. This is what story does. So, and this happened over and over again. This project proved repeatedly that when they added a story to a worthless trinket, it increased dramatically in value. This is how we put value on things. So, this is literally why statistically proven, research backed over and over again, using stories for your business and your content. It is a solid, real strategy. I know it feels counterintuitive. I know sometimes it feels harder than just listing facts, but it is something you want to do to connect with your audience, to help them remember you, and to increase the perceived value of your work and your products. So don't leave it out. And I want you to think of some examples, and I have one actually from my business. Think about the Bible, all the parables in there. They're not just stating things, the Ten Commandments may state things, but there are parables, Aesop's fables. They're illustrations of truths. I'm trying to think of like a parable for lying, and I can't think of Pinocchio. The one of the lessons in there is don't lie. And but instead you tell the story about how this Pinocchio's nose, grows out super long when he lies. That's a bad thing, right? Think about that. It's a visual. It's something that we're experiencing. It's a lesson, but it's baked into a story, and that's been a tradition for God knows how long. I really like the story, like from the Old Testament, when the prophet Samuel comes to King David and is confronting him about Bathsheba. But he doesn't just get in his face about stuff with Bathsheba and killing her husband through the army and blah, blah, all these things. He instead tells the story about a rich man who had a whole flock of sheep and a poor family who only had one sheep, and it was a beloved family pet. But this rich man decided he wanted that sheep, and so he took the family's one sheep, and took it and slaughtered it. And then King David jumped out of his throne, and he's like, one of the worst things to happen to this man, and thought it was the most awful thing. And then the prophet Samuel was just like, well, this is you, my king. So he used this story to engage the emotional part of King David's brain. For example, Abraham Lincoln was really well known for telling stories. Um, if you ever watch the movie Lincoln, there's a lot of examples of it. You can actually see people being like, not another freaking story, because that was a strategy of his to help soften his communications at certain points to access this emotional part of the brain. Think of the book Animal Farm. It's a parable, it's animals, it's visual, it's a different way of accessing us, it's coming to us through story. And then one of the best posts that I had, that actually I got lots of comments from the bookkeepers, it's this I'm telling the story of a busy business owner. But what I do is I basically tell the story of Barb, the busy business owner. And I go about it in this roundabout way where I'm explaining her day. I'm talking about how on Monday she had a past due invoice she forgot about, and on Tuesday she got a tax bill because she missed a deadline she wasn't aware of. And then on Wednesday she realized she needed a bookkeeper, and she reached out to him, and then that's why she hired, me or whoever the bookkeeper is. In telling this story, it's not just stating to someone, you have these problems, I'll fix them for you. The story part engaged this emotional side of the brain, made it easier for them to hear it and remember it. And more bookkeepers in my membership got a lot of engagement from that post, which kind of made me laugh. When I wrote the post, it felt kind of goofy, but it really worked because implied is the wrong word. Employed, there it is. This storytelling strength. So, anyways, I know it's easier to share facts and short posts. Don't be afraid of telling stories. It actually works. So, and of course, if you ever need help with this stuff, just let me know or reach out to me. I do coaching for this. I help people write this stuff all the time. I'd love to help you. Just let me know how I can help you, because I want your business and your content to succeed and to keep growing. So, anyways, that's all I got for today. I hope that helps. And good luck with your stories, and let me know.